Have you ever been accused of something you didn't do? How did it make you feel? This is the shocking story of the 11-year-old who is framed for murdering his stepmother. But did he really do it? Let's find out. Jordan Brown was born on August 12, 1997 in New Beaver, Pennsylvania, to his father, Chris Brown, and his mom, who ran out on him while he was still a baby. His dad raised him as a single parent, and the two were super close. According to his dad, Jordan had an all-American childhood, with birthdays, outings, and sports. He played baseball and football growing up, and was even the starting quarterback for his school football team, which his dad also coached. At school, Jordan was a good student, pulling mostly A's and B's. His favorite subjects were math and science. Like most kids in the area, Jordan loved hunting. He and his dad would shoot targets in the backyard of their house, and he got so good at it that he even won a prize in a turkey shoutout. In May 2008, Jordan's dad, Chris, started dating a lady by the name of Kenzie Hook. The two had known each other as teenagers, and she was now a mom of two little girls, Janessa, who is 7, and Adeline, who is 4 years. People who knew Kenzie said that she had a fun and fiery personality, and that she was beautiful, funny, and always loved and cared for those around her. According to her family, Kenzie always wanted to be a mom, and she really loved her daughters. After dating a while, Chris and Kenzie decided to move in together. They found a nice farmhouse that would accommodate the blended family, and everyone seemed happy with the change. The children were getting along, and even Jordan had started calling Kenzie Mom. But things were about to turn really ugly. The morning of February 20th, 2009, the day started like any other. Kenzie was 8 months pregnant at the time with her first baby with Chris. They had recently discovered that it was going to be a boy, and they were going to name him Christopher, like his dad. The whole family was super excited about the new baby, and were even making arrangements for when he arrived. On this day, Chris said that he woke up a little bit late and was in a hurry to get to work, but Kenzie kept asking him to stay with her. However, he insisted that he had to go to work because there was something he had to do. He later said that he would regret this for the rest of his life. Jordan and Janessa also left for school at around 8:15 a.m., leaving Kenzie and her 4-year-old daughter alone in the house. At around 9 a.m., some tree trimmers came to work around the house, and one of them noticed a little girl standing by the door crying hysterically. When he went to ask her what was wrong, the girl screamed, "My mommy is dead!" The workers called the cops, who found Kenzie lying in bed with blood all over. At first, they thought that she had had a medical emergency.
At that point, we assumed that somehow she had hemorrhaged. We didn't touch her, we didn't move her. At that point, we're trying to maintain the integrity of the scene.
But on further investigation, they noticed and discovered something horrible. Kenzie had been murdered. She had been shot at the back of the head, execution style. Who would do such a horrible thing? The police called Chris to give him the devastating news.
They told me that her and the baby were gone, and I remember collapsing in the yard. I lost it.
Now, in most cases like this, the romantic partner is usually the first suspect. And so Chris was brought in for questioning, and his hands were swabbed for gunpowder residue to see if he had been involved in any kind of shooting. However, his hands came out clean, and police confirmed that he had been at work when the shooting happened. So he was cleared as a suspect. Next, the officers went to Mohawk Elementary School to talk to Jordan and Janessa, hoping that they might have seen something out of the ordinary that morning. But both kids said it was a normal morning, though Jordan had noticed a black truck near the garage that he did not recognize.
I didn't think anything of it, it was just a truck. I thought it was just some guy there, doing work or something. But that's why I told him. The
entire family was completely shaken up by both the death of Kenzie and the baby. That night, they were all huddled up together, trying to comfort each other, when they heard a loud knock at the door. When they went to open, it was the police with an arrest warrant for Jordan.
What I remember was they came and got me at 3 in the morning. They put me in the back of the car and they took me to the police barracks. And
Jordan's dad was completely shaken. He didn't know what to think or feel. Just a few hours before, he had lost his fiance and unborn child, and now he was losing his only son. The news of the 11-year-old boy arrested for murder quickly spread around, and it was in every news outlet in the country. Everyone wanted answers. How did a boy so young commit such a horrifying crime? Meanwhile, Jordan, who was a 5th grader at the time, could do nothing else but cry. He said that he didn't understand what was happening or what he was being accused of. Police said that the thing that made them arrest Jordan was the interview they had with him him and his stepsister, Janessa.
When you interview someone, you expect them to give their account, wait a little while, interview them again, and they should give the same account.
So when Jordan was interviewed the second time, he apparently changed the description of the black truck and said he saw someone inside with a hat on ducking down. Janessa also changed her statement when she was re-interviewed, saying that she remembered seeing Jordan moving his guns that morning.
She told me that when she was waiting downstairs for Jordan, she heard a big boom and she identified it as the sound of a gun.
What's interesting about this is that she had not mentioned any of these details when she was interviewed the first time, but the cops didn't use this against her as they did with Jordan. Anyway, the police found a collection of handguns and rifles, as well as rounds of ammunition in the farmhouse. And among them, they found what they suspected to be the murder weapon. And it happened to be a 20-gauge shotgun that Jordan had gotten from his father as a Christmas present.
We had a youth model shotgun in the house that it smelled like it had recently been fired.
They didn't bother to check Jordan's hands for gunpowder residue like they did with his dad, though they did find some on his shirt and pants. They also found a shotgun shell casing on the family driveway. They concluded that Jordan had thrown it there as he was walking to the school bus after the murder. They believed that his motive was that he was jealous of the new baby. All this while, Jordan's dad was trying to help his son by asking the cops to look into another suspect, Kenzie's ex-boyfriend of 6 years, Adam Harvey. Kenzie and her family had even issued a protective order against him after he left her some threatening messages. And also, Adam happened to own a black truck. Too much of a coincidence, right? But when the cops talked to Adam, they immediately ruled him out as a suspect since his truck looked like it hadn't been driven for a while. Also, Adam claimed that he didn't know where Kenzie lived, and when his hands were tested for gunpowder residue, they found nothing. However, the police did discover something interesting. Apparently, Adam had just discovered that Kenzie's second daughter, Adeline, was not actually his. He and Kenzie had argued about it when Kenzie came to ask for child support, and Adam refused, saying that he needed proof that the girl was his. Despite all this, police were convinced that Jordan was the culprit and charged him with first-degree double homicide. At first, they tried to charge him as an adult and even put him in county jail with grown-ups. Luckily, his lawyer was able to appeal this decision, and Jordan was placed in juvie and stayed there for 3 years waiting for his trial. Despite the whole world turning on Jordan and even calling him America's littlest monster, his dad stayed by his side and traveled every day to see him. He drove 4 hours every day just so that his son could see that he was not abandoned by him. Don't forget that he was still mourning the loss of his fiance and unborn baby, but he decided to put his pain aside so that he could support his son. The guy had literally lost everything, yet remained strong for his son. I don't know about you guys, but that's an amazing father. And mind you, he was not even sure that his son had not done what he was being accused of. He encouraged his son to tell the truth, assuring him that he would never stop being his dad, even if he had done it. But Jordan maintained that he was innocent and stuck to his story. Kenzie's family, however, believed that Jordan had done it and wanted him to be tried as an adult and receive the maximum penalty, which was a life sentence without parole. However, Jordan faced his charges in juvenile court at the age of 14. His stepsister's statements to the police were never on the trial, neither did they testify. Still, the judge found him guilty and ordered that he stay in juvie until the age of 21. While in juvie, Jordan learned to play the guitar and became a pretty good basketball player. Almost 4 years later, Jordan's case was appealed in Pennsylvania, where his lawyers argued that the police were never able to prove that Jordan's shotgun was the murder weapon, and that the gunpowder residue on his pants and shirt could have come from the jacket he had worn to a recent turkey shoot. Once the officers claimed that Jordan's shotgun smelled as if it had been used, his defense pointed out the fact that the officers had no expertise in this area. As for the shotgun shell casing that the police had found on the driveway, the lawyers said that the property was on a farm where people were always shooting, so shotgun shells could be found all over the place. Jordan's lawyers also pointed out that no blood or tissue was found on the gun or Jordan's clothes that day. This time around, the court sided with Jordan, saying that the state had failed to prove that he was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And so, in 2016, Jordan was released at the age of 18 after graduating from high school and being accepted into college. college. He had been in detention for 7 years. In July 2018, his conviction was also overturned. I was happy. Finally, it felt like a big weight had been lifted off of me. It's been a nightmare for 9.5 years. Now, there are a lot of things in this case that don't add up. Why would the police be so convinced that Jordan had killed Kenzie when they didn't have enough evidence to begin with? The only thing that they had on him was a statement by his stepsister, which I'm sure they also doubted because they never used it in court. There are so many holes in this case that we might never be able to fill. Did Jordan really do it, or was there someone else involved? Kenzie's younger daughter, Adeline, who found her mom's body, would later tell her account of how things happened that morning. She said she remembered being woken up by the sound of a gunshot, but didn't know what that was at the time. Then she heard her mother's phone ring and went to answer it. The person at the other end asked to speak to her mom, and so she went downstairs to the bedroom to get her, and that's when she found her lying dead in her room. She then went outside crying, and that's when the tree trimmers saw her and called the cops. This was sometime after 9 a.m., and if you go by Adeline's account, it means the murder happened long after Jordan and Janessa had left the house, and they were on their way to school. It would be really sad to think that a little boy's life was destroyed for a crime that he knew nothing about. And even more horrifying is the fact that someone got away with killing a pregnant woman and destroying a family. But what do you think? Did Jordan really do it? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section.